It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we are going to talk about the mess that I have made for myself since my last op session. And Don Iris says he doesn't use his layout as a workbench, and boy, do I wish that was my situation. I initially had a theory that I was going to have enough space under my layout, and I was going to have some sort of like pull out workbench sort of thing that I could leave a little project set up on, and well, that didn't go exactly as planned because I have just too much stuff. So I got to figure out how to get rid of the stuff, but I got to keep the stuff organized. But I don't know. It's one of those things. Looks like our friend Mr. Beethoven is back. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. If you guys don't know Mr. Beethoven, he runs a large-scale trains forum and Facebook page and all kinds of stuff, and he just had the very first, well, wasn't the first ever, it was the very first one that he ran large-scale show out in Ohio. So if you're interested in large-scale stuff, definitely go check his YouTube channel, just all of his stuff, so first thing I think I'm gonna do tonight is I've got this one box that just came in, and one of the ways to clean up the room is actually open up boxes that have arrived and get stuff out of there. I actually have, I don't even know if you can see it here, but there's like boxes sitting right here, like right in my way. There's just stuff everywhere. I still haven't finished the shelving project from whatever it was 2 weeks ago. I started working on that again tonight, and I was trying to like countersink drill some stuff, but then the countersink bit that I had basically was just, you know, uh, it wasn't doing very well. So I jumped on the old Amazon because, you know, if you need something next day, that's kind of the place to go. And I'm looking at these bits and I'm saying to myself, you know, these look exactly like something I had bought previously, but I wasn't sure. And usually if you've bought something previously on Amazon, it says, you know, hey idiot, you already bought this, you don't need to buy it again. But it wasn't telling me that. But it turned out I do actually have another set of countersink bits. So now instead of these being at the back of my drill bit drawer, now they're going to sit out and in the way until I finish this shelving unit. So depending on how much other stuff happens tonight, I might try and, I don't know. I already drilled through my my fingernail. I was doing something stupid and I said to myself, you know, don't do that. You're gonna hit your fingernail. And I said, no, I'm okay. And I said, no, don't do that. You're gonna hit your fingernail. And then I said, no, it'll be okay. You know why it'll be okay? It's because I've got my safety shoes on. I know that was, oh, that really hurt. Oh, don't do that. Getting way too old to lift my leg up that high. Got my safety shoes on, so I figured, you know, everything should be okay. And ended up breaking my nail with a drill bit. Not something I recommend doing, but it is something that happens. Oh man. Paul, you're correct. I really should have done my safety stretches before the show, but you know how it is. Tammy says she lost power. Tammy, do you remember where you lost it? Maybe we can help you go find it again. But Dennis says he recommends safety stretching before working. So I don't know. I don't have a knife handy, so I'm just kind of ripping this apart. I have some idea of what's in here based on where it came from, but I'm not 100% sure. It does come with packing peanuts, though. If you guys don't know, apparently it's Sparky's birthday, so I might just be sending these packing peanuts to him later, and we're just going to empty this all out into here. And one thing I wish with pre-orders, because this was a pre-ordered item. One thing I wish with pre-orders is that you can, I know this is a great view of me, just like my last stream. I wish they would like combine things. So when they ship things to you, it's a bunch of combined items. And you're correct, I probably shouldn't have, probably shouldn't have played with knives. And yeah, no, I was not using a knife to open the box. I just ripped the box open. So this is the item that I just got. This is another one of the items in the Micro Trains, their latest Circus releases, which is for the Straits show. And these are the containers that go on the flat cars. So previously I got the flat cars, and I had already gotten these containers. I gotta zoom out just a little bit. I'd already gotten these containers and somehow ended up with two of the same set, because that's what happens sometimes. But now I've got these three unique sets of Circus trailers to go on these flat cars. And of course, because, you know, I always know what I'm doing and I never make mistakes, If you look at the numbers on the bottom here, we got to make this a little wider. This one says 24, 31, and 45, and this one says 24, 31, and 45. Yes, they're the same set. So I have two of the same sets of flat cars, but got a bunch of different, in N scale, you can't read the numbers anyway, right? So what does it matter if everything's the same number? Because no one can see anyway. That's part of the joy of N scale, is that you don't know what the heck is going on. You're just kind of let's see what I got. I have so much stuff just sitting on the layout. Don't do this. Whatever you do, just don't do this. I think I showed these lately. One of the things that I'm trying to work out still is, and that's the completely wrong camera. One of the things that I'm trying to work out is precise but detailed paperwork. And one of the things that I had originally was this whole little thing, and it says, what the zone is and the tracks and the spots and all the numbers and everything, but it doesn't tell you how to block anything. And this one has all the blocking information. So I think I'm going to replace this with this, and maybe people will, I don't know, maybe it'll be good information, maybe it'll help people, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. There's just stuff everywhere on the layout. Dennis, very good eyes, yes. Grandpa Rails has noticed a new item that I am wearing tonight, hot off the presses. This just came in the mail. It says Santa Fe Paradigm Division, N-Scale Model Railroad in Wimberley, Texas. If you guys are not familiar, there's a gentleman named John Tanzillo, lives down in Texas, and he has the Santa Fe Paradigm Division as his railroad, and he sent me a shirt. So there is a Santa Fe based layout that I operate around here. It's actually set in New Mexico, not in Texas, but the next op session I go to at his layout, I'm going to I'll wear this shirt. Dave BNSF N-Scale says, can't wear red, clashes with my face, which begs the question, Dave, what colors can you wear that doesn't clash with your face? Bob says, nicely organized. Who are you talking about being nicely organized? Oh, are you saying this documentation is nicely organized? So here's the situation. Don makes a valid point. Here's the situation with these are that these won't be given to anyone, or to anyone. These it's probably accurate. These won't be given to anyone. These won't be given to every operator on the layout. This is kind of, I guess, like expert mode or whatever. So there's this paperwork, which is now a single page that I think pretty much has enough on it to get you in a lot of trouble. And this is what every operator will get, is just this. And if you are a more seasoned operator, and I'd like to, make things a little harder for you, then I would give you the these blocking documents, and you then can, block stuff if you want. I built these because I had somebody ask specifically for them, and I didn't have any information to give them. So that's That's why I have these. Uh, what do you say? Grandpa Rel says, Dwight, I think this makes us triplets. Is that what makes you a triplet? Is the shirt you wear? I don't know. Heath's room is organized better than mine. It's a mess. One of the things that I think I am going to do is, once I get this shelving unit under here, I think I'm going to figure out which of some of these shelves I can move to storage. And a lot of this stuff. There are certain things that I use all the time that are in these drawers. Screwdrivers, drill bits, pliers, clamps. I have drawers of like cables that I end up using all the time. But there's some stuff that I don't use all the time. Like I've got, like scraps of wood in one of the drawers. I don't use scraps of wood all the time, but I don't necessarily want to throw them away either. So I think some of these drawers I'm going to try and send to the storage room. Of course, what that really means is if I move the stuff out of this room into storage, it means then I have more stuff in this, or more space in this room to buy more stuff. So it just means I can buy more stuff. I used to have, so back way in the day, if you go back way in the day on my channel, which was only like 5 years ago, I started off doing T-Track. So I did at one point have a 2x4 folding table, actually 2 of them. In this room, the plan was back in this corner here, I would just have those 2 tables set up. At the time, trains were going to run in circles. I wasn't going to have this big layout. It was just going to be 2 tables. I ended up getting rid of those tables back in the day, thinking that I'm probably going to end up rebuying them at some point. The one thing I don't like about the idea of a folding table is that I really want to be able to set up a project and be able to work on it for a month or 2 months. Specifically, as I'm getting into structures and that element of the layout, I'd like to be able to have a structure build sitting on a table for, 2 months and kind of work through it. So one of the things that I saw, it's way too expensive to buy a nice one. I'm probably not actually going to buy it. But if you go on like Temu or one of those sites, they have these like portable nail like stations. And what it basically is it's a little rolling like table thing. Let's see if I can find it. Nail salon, nail, what is it? What would it be called? Nail portable rolling. I don't here. There we go. Let's see. I'm gonna come up. So something like this. This is something that I was kind of thinking of getting at one point, because it would give me rolling storage and it would give me a table, and it could fold down into this little tiny, it would fold down into a little thing like this, so it would fit nicely under the layout. But I could, pull it out and have a decent little table space to work on. And, in the drawers, I would put all my little paints and my glues and my, pliers and stuff to work on stuff. And I thought like, oh, this would be like a great way to organize stuff. But the problem is, at least like this one here, I don't know if you can make that out or not, but this one here is $312, which I'm not about to spend on something for this room. Yeah, yeah. It looks promising. It does look good with a lot of stuff. Remember that scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark? That's my basement. I feel that way as well. I kind of pull one thing out and other things fall on top of me. Yeah, so there was a time when I was having a lot of conversations with Don Iris. If you don't know, Don Iris is the master of Temu, or at least he used to be. So I used to get all these Temu ads. So this little nail rolling thing was one of the Temu ads I got at the time. But, you know, maybe one day, but for now, I mean, in an ideal world, the storage units that I already have roll. So all I need to do is put a piece of wood on top of the storage things that I already have, and then I would have a rolling desk. So I don't need more bins. I just need to get rid of some bins, get rid of some stuff. But stuff just, I don't know where this stuff comes from. It just like, it shows up in the mail and then it just like explodes. And I'm trying. Everyone seems to be a little bit, I think the springtime, I guess we're almost into summer, is a good time for cleaning. It's a good time to kind of purge things out. Yeah, some things have changed, but a lot of things are still exactly the same. Bob, that's a great way to put it. It does kind of just silently build up. It kind of, next thing you know, all of a sudden, it's just there. One of the other things that I recently got is in this little tin right here. One of the operating members in this community is a gentleman named Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward started making these little tiny flags. I don't know if you can kind of see them or not, but these little flags, basically, he was making them in HO scale, and he kind of wanted a challenge and said, I wonder if I could make those in N scale. And that was a very fast move. So he made these little flags, and what I wanted them for is the blue ones. I want to replace these flags. So at the entrance to my industries, I've got these big, huge, completely out of scale blue flags. And now, thanks to Jeff, I have these much smaller, much more to scale flags. And these have a little magnet on the bottom. So what I'll be able to do is put a little piece of, metal where I want this to stay and kind of drop this, right in location. And I just think it's going to be a much better solution. One of the things that he also makes, though, is the red flags. And what he makes the red flags for is to use as end of train devices. And if you've ever seen, I think like the macro ones do them and some of the other ones do them. But let me see if that's there. This track is here. I'm going to see if I can get one of these to situate itself. But the trip pins on N scale are metal, as I guess makes sense, right? So that's a little metal trip pin right there. So what he was saying is he thought I could either put it on top, and of course I'm using a red car, which is probably just about the dumbest thing I could have done to show off a red flag. So let's get that out of the way. So here's a white car. So I don't know if you guys can see that at all, but you can see that red flag just magnets right to the car. So now I can use that as my end of train devices on my trains. And I thought that was really cool. So the other way you can position this is he's got some with a longer post on them. So this one has a longer post so you can see how much higher it is. And the way this one is designed is you actually hook it into the coupler, which let's see if I can. It's end scale. I can't even see what I'm doing. So this clips into the coupler, and then it sits. The magnet, instead of sitting on top, sits on the bottom of the trip pin. So this is a good question. So why not using shoving platforms or a caboose? My thought, I don't know if it's a good thought or not, but the entire layout, the rest of the layout was built for 8 40-foot boxcars, right? All my passing sidings were built for that. All the industries and everything was built for that 8-car train. And adding in shoving platforms or cabooses, I don't really have the space. They would just sort of create problems or issues or whatever. So what my thought is that I do use cabooses for the road trains. So any train that is leaving my division, my short line area, and heading out to the interchange gets a caboose. So anything from the Croton Harmon Yard out to Selkirk gets a caboose. But anything on the layout, there was nothing to indicate the end of the train. So my thought is I can use a red flag as an end of train device. It is not a FRED. It is not a flashing, whatever FRED stands for, flashing something. It's an end of train device, and it's I mean, as you can see, this longer one, maybe as you can see, this longer one, the way it sits on the coupler like that, I mean, I think it looks fantastic. I think it's a neat element to add to an op session. I don't know. We'll try it. I got 2 op sessions coming up in whatever month is coming up, July. I need to send an email about them, but I'm planning on running 2 op sessions in July. So I'm thinking I'm going to include them and see. These longer ones definitely work really nicely for going in the coupler. This shorter one, let's see if I can get it in there. Yeah, so the shorter one is too short. I think it doesn't really sit in there right. But the longer one, this one will sit on top. So that'll work sitting on top. But these, I've got three of the longer ones in red, and I think I'm gonna give it a try. So Jason, if you guys don't know, Colonel Cottonbelt is Jason the Train Freak. FRED is a flashing rear end device. EOT is an end of train device, or an EOTD. So yes, mine is not flashing. Paul says he looks forward to using them. Paul is going to get a chance to run on the layout. I like to refer to Paul as Mr. Prototypical. So I am hoping that Paul will accept my whatever you want to call it, artistic license that I've taken on my layout. But yeah, these are really, Jeff did a really great job with these, considering how small they are. I think it looks fabulous. Mike says, does the operators have to remove them? Yes, of course. I do have, if you guys don't know, I do have magnifying glasses on the layout if people find that they need them. But, yeah, you know, I use macro EOTs, and the macro ones are fantastic. He just doesn't make any in N scale. So, you know, this is going to be my N scale solution until, yeah. Paul, I think there is a couple of letters that you could have left out, and that would have been a more accurate statement, but we'll give that one to you. One of the other things that I need to do, and I guess I need to do this before my next op session. I have, these are all of the waybills for the cars that need to be spotted at the next op session. So all of my car cards don't have waybills in them. And when I say all of them, I just mean the ones that are in the yard don't have waybills in them. All the waybills are just sitting here. So one of the projects, and I don't think I'm going to do it right now, but one of the projects is these waybills need to get into those car cards at some point before the next op session. And here's another project that I need to figure out as well. Why are we not using commercial Freds? Well, a 1-to-1 scale commercial Fred is a little too big for my N scale layout. So yeah. Paul says I and M. Nope, those were not the letters that I was thinking of removing. Funny you say this, Lynn. So if people don't know, there is a subset of model railroaders that, in addition to being the subset of operators, they are even a smaller subset of model railroaders, and they run Civil War era trains. So there's a gentleman named Tom Radice, T-H-O-M, Radice, R-A-D-I-C-E. If you look him up, he has a Civil War based layout that we operate on. And the way you couple and uncouple the trains is using link and pin. So you need to stick the links in between the two coupler boxes, and then there's a little pin that you drop into the hole in the coupler box, and that's how you do it. So having tweezers on layouts is actually something I've have a little bit of experience with and operations. So Jason wants to know, how many waybills have you created per car so that they don't repeat all the time? So it's a long story-ish. I have, let's zoom back in. So this piece of paper shows all of the spots on the layout. So what I did, or what I do, the way I run the layout is I have blanks of these, right? So let's pull these out. So I've got blanks of these. This is how they start out. They start out blank. So what I do is I say, okay, I've got 69 spots, but during an op session, we only move 44 loaded cars. So I grab a stack of waybills, and this stack of waybills, this is 69 waybills. So there is enough waybills in here for one waybill for every spot. And I have 4 sets of those waybills. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Each waybill is a 2 position waybill. So I've got 4 sets of 69 waybills. When when a car leaves the layout, it comes off the layout and the waybill gets pulled, right? So this car is now an empty car that can take any waybill. So what I do, or what I have, is I pull out 44 waybills randomly. Just go through those 69. So this is set 4. So I have grabbed 44 waybills out of the 69, and I basically I document which ones I've pulled out. So anything that is not in here isn't gonna move. So anything that's in there gets a hold card and it doesn't move. I know this is probably getting very confusing at this point, and I'm trying to explain it quickly to answer Jason's question, but it's kind of a little bit of a long process. So there's 69 spots, 44 car cards now, and I go through basically, and I use at the little top corner up here. So some say LCL, which is less than carload. Some say maintenance away, because they're maintenance away cars, and some say GLC. GLC stands for glucose. It's a sugar car. It goes to my plant that makes sugar cars. So I just take these and they just get assigned to a car. And that's really the whole deal. So this basically, Kroger warehouse loaded up this car. This car is loaded and it needs to go here. And it just basically, this waybill just finds a car and it just goes where it needs to go. Don says you have more paperwork than the prototype. Not really. I mean, theoretically, this waybill comes from the shipper. The shipper builds this waybill out and it gives it to the railroad and says, I need a box car to load up. So this gets, loaded up and then it comes on the layout. So it's, it's not so bad. Jason says, when I did my waybills, I did them by car because different owning railroads would bring in loads from customers on the rail system, or at least in my era, which is 1958. So yes, that is very, very true. The story of my layout is that the majority of the cars that come onto this portion of the layout is all LCL shipments. So basically, if you don't know, LCL means less than carload. So what happens with LCL shipping is that there'll be a terminal storage building out in Wisconsin, let's say, and a bunch of people will send all their stuff to that warehouse. That warehouse will say, okay, all of this stuff needs to go to Heath's layout in New York. So they'll call up the railroad and they'll say, I need a 40-foot boxcar that I can send to Heath's layout. That 40-foot boxcar shows up, they stick a bunch of stuff on it, and it comes off to my layout. So, less than carload, it's not as specific as like saying, oh, I went to a furniture warehouse, I filled up with furniture, or let's change that. So it's not like saying I've got a lumber mill and the lumber mill fills up all of the wood and that wood goes to a furniture shop to be turned into furniture, right? It's LCL train movements. There's more information about it. There are some good, I think Joe Binish does a really good LCL layout. One of the things with LCL and the way I should theoretically be running is that every boxcar goes back to a certain zone. So like what Jason was talking about, where certain boxcars will come and go back to different areas, right? Like, so for example, I actually have some of these blue streak cotton belt cars on my layout. So this car would be sent off to Jason's layout. And what would happen is that a warehouse, let's say in New York, would say, I've got an LCL shipment going to Jason's layout, and they would send this car, because this car, let's say, was in the New York area, but it needs to go back to Jason's area. So as a part of the LC, I did a lot of research on it and a lot of figuring it out. I started with switch lists. I started there, and the reason I primarily went to car cards and waybills is because I wanted to let the yard masters and the people switching the layout to do a lot more of the thinking. And I found that when you give somebody a car card, there's a lot more flexibility for the operator. The other thing I really like about car cards, and I know this is what I'm about to say, I know is a very touchy subject in the world of operations, especially in prototypical operations. I have been yelled at layouts because because I was not running as prototypically as I should, but I like the gamification of having cards. To me, operations is the gamification of model railroading, right? I mean, it's you can run cars in circles and have a fantastic time, but a way to kind of add another kind of gaming element to it is to get into operations. And I feel personally that car cards and waybills adds to the gameplay of operating. And I know that there are people out there that when you talk about games and model railroad operations, they want to reach out and hit you. But anyway, so Jason, talking about this blue streak car, said, that car only looked like that just long enough for Pullman Standard to take pictures of it for promotional use, and then repainted it to the normal blue streak fast freight paint in a different number. So very interesting. I'm looking to see if I can find a standard blue streak boxcar. Here's another. This is another cotton belt car, but not the standard that not the standard one that Jason was referring to. So let me take a quick look. I know these are like exciting moments when the layout owner walks away and starts randomly looking at their layout for a car that they may or may not be able to find quickly, and it does not look like I am able to find one quickly. But yeah, somewhere on the layout I do have some other just, cotton belt cars. They're just sort of brown. Now I'm starting to like pull the layout apart. I probably shouldn't do that. Let's just leave that be. But yeah, that's very interesting. Of course, for Heath's layout, the car cards has a photo on it. It does. And Don, you've operated on the layout, so Don likes switch lists, especially in night mode. If you come to my layout, one of the things that you will get to operate on the layout is a little LED light, because yes, it does. You do have to work at night sometimes, and stuff happens. You need a GPS car finder. I wish. Jason says, I did as well. Color coded the card stock for special cars as well. SSW 7500 was already assigned to a gondola, and it would have been a mess to change it and have the FRA federal DOT paperwork. I started when I switched from, so I was doing switch list using JMRI Operations Pro. When I switched from that to car cards and waybills, I started with the MicroMark car cards and waybills. This system, or this set, has actually been around for the longest. I will caution you, if you were going to use colored paper to print your car cards and waybills, you will see, or you might be able to see, if I zoom in a little bit further. So one of the colors used on my layout is yellow. Well, if you try and print the yellow color on yellow cardstock, that does not work very well. The other thing that happened though too, and I forget what color it happened with, but I also found there was another color where I think it was blue. Yeah, okay, so it's this one. So this is supposed to be blue, but if you compare it to the green, you'll notice that the green looks very close to the blue, and that's because yellow and blue make green. So when you print blue on yellow, it's going to look greenish, and it got kind of messed up. So if you are going to color code things, which was the theory, I mean, that was the idea of why I started doing this, be aware of that. I am going to go back to white waybills. I haven't had a reason to print them yet, so I have not reprinted them on white, and I'm gonna run with these until I can't run any further. Now I'm still have it in my head. I really want to find one of those other cotton belt cars that have the, because I know they're like, I know I've got one on the layout somewhere. I just don't know where. It could be in one of these boxes too. Or it could be back in here, which would be a little bit harder to find. Anyway, I just need to forget about that as well. Yeah, the Shenware My Trains and Waybills is one option. I tried using Albion Ship It for a little while, got frustrated because it was overly complicated. So make a border of what color you want on the white waybills. And that's, I mean, that's what I can eventually do, is just add I've already got so many different colors on this, I don't think I should necessarily add another color. But what I did, so for example, you know, the cabooses were pink. The rest of the rolling stock was yellow. The locomotives are green. So the idea was green is go, red is stop. So red's the caboose, green is the go end. Yellow is, in the middle. So that's why that is the way it is. When I was using car cards, I used Ship It. Oh, interesting. I got frustrated with Ship It, I will say. It does a lot of stuff, but it wouldn't let me build the waybills to look like this. And to run the way I wanted to run, yeah. The feature of Senpai I really like is being able to add the OPSIG database into the waybills. Interesting you mentioned that. Let's zoom in and let's take a look at my waybills. One thing that I did on here is, this one says Kroger. This one is Niagara Mohawk Power Company, U.S. Plywood, Copper's Company. I went through and I used the OpSig database and I pulled out a bunch of different names of companies from the era, and I put them on the waybills. It's not completely accurate. I mean, you know, Bait J Herb Company probably wouldn't ship LCL, and you know, free milling PC. These probably wouldn't actually be LCL shipments, but I just thought it was a little nice, a nice touch to use the OpSig list to create the waybills. And then so this is the one side, and then when I flip it, what I did is so you can see this one goes to IRT inside track 1, right, when it's loaded. So loaded goes to inside IRT track 1, and then it gets emptied, and then it's from IRT inside track 1 to 69th Street. So I basically took the, you know, this is a, that's a bad example. So here is, you know, Roaring Spring Bound Book Company. It's going to the Riverside team track when it's loaded, and then when it's empty, goes empty, it is then from the Riverside team track to Selkirk. I don't know. I found that to be a nice little touch. I enjoyed doing that little touch, adding that little touch to you know, two things. Lynn says, wish I was young and energetic like you. I'm lucky to open the box. Lynn, just, you know, drink more caffeine. At the end of the day, I think that's the answer. I gotta say, I definitely did not clean up as much as I thought I was gonna get to today. And actually, I think I'm going to end up at the end of this stream with more stuff being a mess than less stuff. One of the things I was hoping to do today is I've got these Kato couplers right here. And these Kato couplers are going to be for, and I, of course, it's, let's see if I can pull it out. So this locomotive has those old school couplers on them. And I really wanted to get new couplers on them. And somebody finally told me that this coupler is a direct replacement. Now, my problem is I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get this coupler out of this coupler box. But it went into the coupler box, so it's got to come out of the coupler box. And it still moves, like it's still flappy around. So if I can figure it out, and the person that told me about this said that it is a direct replacement, and they know it's a direct replacement because they've done it. What I've currently done to solve the problem of, and of course I just knocking things all over. What I currently did to solve the problem is the old solution where I put the one coupler on the one end and the other coupler on the other end. But I'd love to not have to use a transition car, and I'd love to be able to figure out how to swap this coupler. So if anybody has any idea how this thing comes apart, I would love to hear about it. I mean, as you can kind of see, the coupler is just on this little wheel part here that is kind of an extension of this truck. So I think maybe I need to take the truck apart, but I don't see anything that indicates any way that any of this comes apart, which makes me believe a lot of this is press fit and or glued, which means I might just need to start, you know, I don't know. Jason says I get to operate Joseph Musgrove's Mopac layout in August. What area of the country is he in? Isn't there a manual? I don't know. I don't know that I've ever read a manual in my life to know whether there's a manual. You know, it's funny you say that. I do have the box. This is the box for it. It is a Tomix 2116. I do not see any manual. Yeah, there's no manual in this box. But there might be a manual online somewhere. But there's not one in here. So what this is a Tomix EF15 that was painted in the New York Central paint scheme. And the reason that I got it is because I like this kind of box cab look. So yeah. I missed the comment about you operating 2 weeks ago. I got to operate a guy's layout a couple weeks ago who used to work for multiple railroads in Manhattan. Oh, really? That's really cool. There are a couple people that I know that used to work the New York Central, that worked the 60th Street Yard, that worked the High Line. But those guys are at an age that, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be around much longer. But Jason, I'm glad to hear you're finding people in your area to operate with, because I feel very fortunate that there are people in this area with some really incredible layouts that I've had the opportunity to operate on. And actually, I am still working out the details, but I'm trying to get myself to Minrail at the end of September. And part of the reason I want to go out there is I did get to see the clinch field at an N scale. I did get to run a train around the layout, but I've never actually operated on an N scale layout outside of my own layout. And I really want to experience another N scale layout to see how it operates. I was kind of shocked that mine is even operating at all. It was kind of, I'm kind of surprised that it's working as well as it is, but there are other people out there doing it. So yeah, somebody mentioned the poll real quick. I do have a poll going. Is your layout cleaned up? Can you run trains? So far, it says 44% said I can run a train around the mess. 33% says clean as a whistle. If you haven't voted yet, vote, and I'm going to close it out really soon. Jason says right now there's a group of 5 guys doing a monthly rotation. That's really cool. That's awesome. Heath, you need to get to Doug Dedrick's Great Northern Layout near Albany. As long as there are sky blue boxcars, I will find a way to get up there. Paul says there's a really good one. I think he means an operations weekend on the Oktoberfest schedule in Albany, according to Dennis. Which one is in Albany? I know of one in I think it's in the Rochester area. I don't know of one in Albany. All 3 of our NMRA divisions in the area are pretty dead. Yeah, I get it. Don says he's operated on Doug's layout. Don, I'm curious if there are any layouts that you haven't run on. And apparently Don just posted something that said he ran greasy. I don't know at all what that means. Oh, it says rad great. I think Don's having a little trouble typing. Is Doug's layout N scale? Is that why we're saying that? Bob, I don't know if there are side clips on this box. It's a very confusing. It's confusing to me because there's an axle that runs right through it. I may need to pull the back. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. Oh, Don says ran great. There we go. Oh, Paul says he was referring to Doug's. Oh, Doug's having an event in October? I didn't know that. All right, let's end this poll. Let's see how it goes. Don says there are a few he hasn't gotten to yet, but only a few. Don, are you going out to Minrail? Is anybody that is currently listening to my voice, and I feel bad for anybody that is, anybody that's listening to my voice, are you going to Minrail? I don't know how many operators there are around here, and my computer just crashed. That was very interesting. I don't know why it crashed, but I just had an issue with my tissues. Don says no, not going to Minrail. Oktoberfest is the Albany. I did not know that there was an Albany festival. Is that, I guess that is before Oktoberfest is, I guess, before or after Op Around the Clock. I gotta start saving up some money. No, is that like Minwax? No. Minrail is Minnesota's rails. So Paul says before and Don says after. On that note, because I am just about as confused as I can be, and I have got a major cleanup to do before I can get all of the stuff that's in the hallway back into this room. So I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I appreciate all of the camaraderie and the good times. And I got my new Santa Fe shirt. I'm ready for the next adventure, which is going to be more cleaning, it looks like. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity.